Tech by Tips.
Hello and welcome to another Tech by Tips video. This video is kind of a video, an emergency video. I just uploaded this week's video and I noticed a comment in here regarding the previous video on Seer. People are saying that they're having a hard time with the application recognizing the data that we're giving to the containers. And I have noticed that this is a very common trend on my videos. A lot of people tell me basically the same error happening to them in one way or another. And it usually is about accessing the files in the NAS by the container. So let me try to explain very clearly how this works so that you know how to overcome these kinds of errors. But the original comment came from KMorar556, where he says he's trying to set up Seer and then he got a message saying the /app/config volume mount was not configured properly. All the data will be cleared when the container is stopped or restarted. And he says he deleted everything and started over, but he's still getting this error. I never got it when I was in Overseer. I tried researching online, but no luck. Do you know a fix for this? Thank you. And then this is the message that triggered me to create this video. It's from Gingerbread Girl Prod, which tells me, Tech by Tips, I'm having the same issue. Can you point to instructions on how to mount a folder? So let's clarify once and for all how containers use volume mounts and what kind of things might be preventing you from accessing the data in your NAS, or if it's not in the NAS, in the machine that is hosting the container, right? So let's go to that. For the sake of the video, I'm going to be using the virtual NAS that I have here as my lab, and we're going to explain how this works. The first thing that we want to say here is normally when we are running an application in a container, there's some data that we need to make sure that persists, meaning that if the container dies, we don't lose that data. Because remember, a container is meant to be an environment that can be easily destroyed and recreated. But the problem is that it gives us the advantage of always having the same system, but we lose any change that we might have made to that system. So that's why with applications like, for example, Sonar, Radar, Seer, all of that, we try to store some specific segments of the data in a persistent place, meaning in this case the NAS, in the hard disk, so that if for some reason we kill that container or we rebuild it, it doesn't start from scratch. It keeps the configurations and the files that we had for this container. So normally what we do is we create, at least in my videos, I make it very easy for you to understand. We have two folders, one which is for the container data, and then another one where we store the Docker Compose. That part is irrelevant. The Docker Compose one is just for this file to be stored within the Synology NAS. But this part, the container data, is important because in this case, for example, if we go into Jellyfin, we would have our configuration for the application stored in here. And this is what we don't want to lose. So we want to make sure that our container stores the changes that we make in our applications into this folder, so that if we kill that container and we start it again as a new container, it can read all the changes that we made previously, and even though it's a new container, it will behave like we had it before. Now, when you assign a mount point, it means that you're telling your container inside yourself, inside the container, you're going to have a specific directory. Right? So let's go to the Docker Compose as an example. In here, which is the video that I just released. If we look at Grimory in the volumes section, we have one volume that is inside the container in the /app/data. This is our configuration data, right? So this varies per container. You have to look at the documentation of the container that you're trying to deploy. Sometimes, for example, if it is a Linux server image, it'll just be /config. But in the case of this container, Grimory, they decided to make it /app/data. So you have to make sure that on the right side, which is the container side, you have the right folder. Why? If I change this and the container is expecting the data to be here and then I put /config, then I'm putting a folder that the container is not using. So then I'll be mounting a volume that is never used. So that's the first thing. You have to make sure that what you're mounting is the right place in the container, right? We have /books, because that's where we're going to be looking for stuff inside the container. We have book drop, because this is where inside the container we're going to look for the things, right? So the right side is always inside the container. Now, that information inside the container, we can override it with the data that we have in the NAS. So in this case, if I have a config folder, right, then I would put volume 1 docker containers Grimoire data, which is the path to this folder that I had. I already deleted it, but let's assume that there's a Grimoire folder here, and inside that there's a data. So that's the path inside the NAS that holds the data that we want. So when we pass a volume, we're telling the container, okay, you're in your folder /app/data inside the container. It's not going to be used inside the container. You're actually gonna connect to the host, and you're going to read what is in the host. In this case, my host is the NAS. So it's going to read what I have in the folder in the NAS. Now, here comes the next problem. You might be assigning the right place inside the container and the right place inside the NAS, but the container runs with a certain set of permissions, and this also varies per container. If you have a Linux server image, usually they use the app UID and the GID. So UID and GID, sorry. Those are the values where you specify that, and those become environment variables that the container is looking for. But for example, in the case of Grimoire, they changed those variable names and their user_ID and group_ID. So you have to look carefully in the documentation of the container that you're running to make sure that you're passing the right value. Some containers don't even use these variables. If that is the case, you have to go with the other, which is the user, and then you put user ID, group ID. So sometimes you have seen in my videos that I specify it this way. So there's several ways that you can specify the user that you want this container running as, right? Now I assign it 1026 and 100, and you'll be saying, where the hell did I figure this out? Let me explain to you how you get this. So we go into the control panel, then we go to our users, then we would have users here that we have created. So I disabled the default admin account. I don't use that, but I do have a user that is with my name. That user is actually enabled. So you see, it doesn't say deactivated. So this is the user that I use to manage my container. And I need to identify, because I'm going to use this user, right? Because I know that this user has permission, and I'm going to explain that now. I'm going to pass this user to the container. So it's going to run as my user. How do I do that? How do I figure out the user ID and the group ID for this user? Well, the first thing you need to go is go to terminal and SNMP. You need to enable the SSH service, and then we're going to go into a command prompt window in our machine. In my case, I'm in Windows. So then I would say SSH, and then I need to put the IP of the NAS. So in this case, 10.0073, and then I put my user, the user that I want to validate which ID we have. And, oh, sorry, I put it the other way. It should have been the user at, then the IP of the NAS. There we go. And now I say yes, it asks me for my password, and then I put the password, and as you can see, now I'm inside the NAS. Once you're inside the NAS, logged in as the user that you want to log in, then you can put the ID command, and that is going to give you the user ID and the group ID. This is the two values that you need. So like I said, my first user is 1026, and the group for that user is 100, and it's actually in the users group. So I need this. This is the two values that I'm going to specify in the Docker Compose file in here. So this means that when this container runs, it's gonna run with the permissions of my user that I have here. And then I need to make sure that this user in the Synology interface has permissions to read and write to the folders that I have created here. So I need to go here into the shared folder. I'm gonna look for the folder that I'm gonna mount. So in this case, you remember I have it in the Docker share. So in here I click on edit, and then I go into permissions, and then you see here what users I have in the NAS and what permissions do they have. As you can see, the admin has no access, the guest has no access, I have the Plex media server which does have access, and my user which has access. You can give it read write, which is what you need if your container is going to be writing things. You can give it read only if it only needs to read stuff and it doesn't need to make any change. And you can also do custom permissions. Usually for containers where we want to write things to those directories, we give it read and write. So I make sure that my user here has read and write. Save that, make sure that that is correct in there. Now, we have assigned a user to the container. That user that we assigned to the container has read and write permissions to the directory that I needed to read and write to. And we have mounted the appropriate path in the container to the appropriate path in the NAS. And that should solve the problem where when the application starts and it starts looking at the files that we have in the NAS in the path that they have in the container, then it should be able to read from those files and it should be able to write to those directories. This kind of message that we saw from the person that said the mount was improperly configured could be that one of these values was wrong, or that the user that you are running the container as does not have permissions to that folder, or that you didn't assign it a user and it's trying to run with another user, and obviously it will not have permissions. So that is the thing that you have to look for. That's what you have to fix to make sure that your container can run as a specific user that has permissions in your NAS, and that you mount the directories to the proper place in the container. So I hope this answers your question and that helps you to solve your problem. That's going to be it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.